Hello, my name's Paul and this is Paul's British English. Thank you for watching the video. Today we're going to talk about some common mistakes regarding words which students find confusing. Okay. The first words we're going to talk about are neighbourhood versus neighbour. Neighbour is a person that lives close to you. So a person that might live opposite you or a person that might live next door, that's a neighbour. So it's a person. A neighbourhood is an area. So the area of town in which you live in. So if you like your neighbours, that means you like the people that live close to you. If you like your neighbourhood, that means you like the area. So maybe there's lots to do, it's very convenient, there's lots of banks, there's lots of restaurants, there's lots of bars, there are some schools. That's a good neighbourhood, okay? And you could say, my neighbourhood is good because my neighbours are so friendly. That means you like the area because the people in the area are so friendly, okay? So remember, neighbour is a person, neighbourhood is an area. Okay. The next word that we're going to talk about, or the next phrase that we're going to talk about, is take over. Now, this means that somebody does something instead of you. Now, quite often students, particularly East Asian students, will try to use this phrase as a noun. Okay. So let's say you're driving and there's somebody else in the car and you're driving a long distance. You might be tired, so you might want to stop driving and you might want somebody else to begin driving while you have a rest. So students will quite often say, I'm tired, can I get a takeover? Now we don't use it as a noun in that situation, we use it as a verb, so a phrasal verb. So a better sentence would be, I'm tired, can you take over? That means, can you start driving? So most of the time, if we're talking about getting a replacement for something, we would say take over as a verb. So can you take over driving? Can you take over doing this activity instead of me? If you use it as a noun, if you say a takeover, that normally refers to like a business or a company buying another company. So let's say a big company like, I don't know, Samsung buying a smaller company. That would be a takeover. But if you're using it just on a personal level, you would use it as a verb. So can you take over this activity? I'm bored of doing it. I'm tired. I need to do something else. So can you take over? Okay. And the final word we're going to talk about is hospital. I've noticed this with East Asian students in particular. A hospital in English, British English or American English, is a very big building with lots and lots of doctors in it and lots of nurses. And the doctors in that building are maybe specialists. So if you have something really wrong with you, you would go to the hospital and you would go and see a specialist. Or if there was a real emergency, you would go to accident and emergency, or casualty as it's called, in the hospital, and that's open 24 hours a day. But if you just have a mild illness, let's say you have the flu, you have a bad cold, you wouldn't go to a hospital, you would go to a doctor's surgery or a doctor's office. Now this is a smaller building with just one or two or maybe three doctors and a few nurses and some reception staff. And they're not specialist doctors. These doctors are probably just general practitioners. That means like family doctors. So they're kind of experts on everything, but they're not specialists. So if you needed to see a specialist, what you would do at first is you would go to the local doctor, you would go to the general practitioner, the family doctor, at a doctor's surgery, a small building, and then he would say, right, I don't know enough about your condition. You need to see a specialist. So then he would refer you to go to the hospital. That's the big building where the specialists are. So most of the time when you see a doctor, you probably just go to a doctor's surgery or a doctor's office, a nice small building with a few nurses and a few doctors, and they can help you if you have a mild illness. If you have a bigger illness, that's when you would go to the hospital, or if there was an emergency, that's when you would go to the hospital. Okay, so those are some complicated and confusing words that a lot of my students get mixed up with. Hopefully you can use those corrections and that will help you in the future. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Also, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook. You can find us on Neighbour blogs, and we have our own website, which is www.paulsbritishenglish.com. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.